Hello everybody, my name is JCW and this is my Max Cape Speedrun series. 2 years ago, I hit 200 mil on the level 3, and now I'm back on the skilling scene with the goal of maxing in the shortest gameplay time possible. As of right now, my ultimate goal is to finish max total within 35 days of playtime. Welcome to my 840 hour speedrun. Right off the bat, and a continuation from last week's video, I'm still training agility at Scuffpulchre. Now throughout this video, you'll see my agility rate fluctuating anywhere from 3 to 4k. Since I'm finally at 4.4, the content skill gap got significantly larger, but it was in a good way, because I had a lot of fun challenging myself to do a perfect hour. The perfect hour though, for those who don't know Scuffpulchre, it's about as real as fairies and dragons, at least for my skill level. Bearing in mind I've only been here for about a month with a total of maybe like 70 hours, I still can't imagine gently having 0 mess ups for a whole hour. Especially when the servers decide to take a dump when you really need it to be stable, like in this clip. So yeah, that happens and my rate goes down and I get very angry. Scuffpulchre's fun though. There is some good news in all of this though. The EHP rate for level 82 to 92 is only 73.5k. This rate is pretty easy to maintain even if you have really bad 4.4s. I made it my goal after the first level to try to hold over 75k agility. Next lap, here I am hitting 97 Scuffpulchre. I didn't actually get a chance to talk about my current plans for this account yet, so now that I'm playing it a lot again, let me dive into that. If you do the math, I'm clearly going to be hitting 99 Scuffpulchre before agility. So I think my current goals, assuming nothing changes, will be to finish up Scuffpulchre and then skill hop for a bit. There are a lot of fun upcoming grinds, the main one being crystal smithing and crafting, which gets me those 2 99s within a couple hours, so I think that will be my next goal after Scuffpulchre. As you can see on the screen, the only skill requirements I'm missing for Song of the Elves is 70 mining and 70 smithing, both relatively easy grinds. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long to get. I would hope 1 week, but maybe 2 including the questing. Anyway, here I am hitting 83 agility. No time for pop-ups since I can't miss any ticks, but you can see it from the tracker on the left. About halfway through this level, I finally decided to start fletching. I've been procrastinating starting fletching since 4.4 since I wanted to get a little bit better, and I knew there would be enough time to get 99 fletching no matter what level I started at. This is the only clip I got of fletching as I thought I would be fletching a bit longer, but I learned pretty quickly that it's very easy to average 200 to 300k an hour with addy darts. With this in mind, I concluded that it was not worth it for me to do fletching for the time being. The reason is that when you fletch, you lose 2 inventory spots that could have been Scuffpulchre XP per lap. Only going up until 4.4, I banked 13 times per hour, versus if I was doing 4.5 as well, I would be banking 8 times an hour. So essentially, right now, if I were doing darts, I would be losing 26 inventory slots per hour, whereas waiting until I can do 4.5, I will only be losing 16 inventory slots per hour at that point. Obviously, that's a minimal amount of difference in pots and even time save on my journey to max, but if I'm confident of finishing fletching from 92 to 99 agility, there's no real reason for me not to do it. So, after banking my darts and a few trips of not multi-skilling during 4.3 and 4, I had another crisis where I felt weird for not doing any. So, naturally, I made an executive decision to lose 1 inventory slot for Astral Runes so I can cast Magic Imbue. At this point, it was as simple as I'm sacrificing 2.5k Scuffpulchre XP for 15k Magic, which didn't seem that bad for a bit. However, there is still the reality that I'm going to be flying through magic during a lot of other skills, from Magic Imbue during mining and runecrafting, and especially barraging during Slayer. So, after a small amount of Magic Imbue agility, my indecisive ass made a final decision. Just do this without multi-skilling after the pots on floor 1 to 2. This is where I finally landed. Thankfully for the rest of the video, no more small changes to what I'm doing. Here I am hitting 86 agility. For those unfamiliar with Scuffpulchre, did you notice how I got my big XP drop of 2.6k at the end of the 4? So, allow me to show you this picture I had earlier that is not safe for work, arguably not safe for life. Now be warned that this picture is so scarring to see on a Max Cape speedrun series, so if you're under 18, I recommend you take this time to look away for 10 seconds. So yup, I kind of DC'd at this point 5 tiles away from my XP drop. Thankfully this was the only time it happened, but I happened to have to walk away from RuneScape for quite a while after this. Be sure to like and subscribe so I can upgrade my internet and this does not happen again. Here I am, about to hit 87 agility, and as you can see, I'm also pretty close to hitting 98 herb. Keep in mind, my goal at the moment for the account is to finish herb, then I move on from Scuffpulchre temporarily no matter what my agility level is. Here's the agility level. Again, no pop-up since we're gaming. And here's the 98 herb. Assuming my nearly 4 years of college did not fail me, 88 agility should be next. I have definitely slacked in farm runs the past 2 weeks, but I think once I hit 72 farming, I'll be flying by since I'll unlock magic trees. Anyway, I ran low on teleports to get back to Scuffpulchre, so I ended up bringing vampire dust with me for 3 runs so I could loot. Honestly, I only needed to loot once. The problem was, looting took more attempts than Jad. I kept running by after completing floor 4 and accidentally leaving my loot behind. As you can see, the loot is right near the end. Very easy and safe to not lose much time other than looting. Yet it was still challenging for me. But anyways, here I got my 6 hollowed marks, allowing me to purchase 6 more teleports for when I need to leave. Finally, a little break for your guys' eyes, since you've only seen Scuffpulchre since you started this video. Here I am doing a farm run, putting me at 71 farming. Alright, time for some shooting stars. I called my boys over, aka my alts, plus one friend to help me beast one out in a PvP world. I knew literally nothing about shooting stars before this video. I've never touched one in my entire 22 years on this planet. So I had to do some research and learn some things from friends, and hopefully I'll be able to now teach you guys something as well. It does look like the guys around the star wanted to start a conversation, so ignore that and I apologize if they say anything negative. So, a lot of information incoming. To begin, these are garbage mining XP, but they give an untradeable reward called Stardust. I can use 2000 Stardust to buy a Celestial Ring, which gives me a permanent +4 mining level boost. Because the success rate of mining each rock goes up with every mining level, the permanent +4 makes this ring worth the time on the way for 99 mining. So, the reason me and my boys are mining the rock is because we want it to be a tier 1 star before the speedrun account jumps in. Stars randomly spawn every 2 hours with the chance of being any tier from 1 to 9. There's a formula for Stardust that's a bit complicated, but to summarize it all up, the lower the tier is, the higher chance you have for Stardust, despite getting less mining XP. So, with all that information, that brings me to why I'm in a PvP world. It's best to have a tier 1 solo star to get the most dust, so that was my goal. I figured nobody would be in a PvP world for this, and this star specifically since it was 8 AM on a Sunday, so I had no worries. So, making my way to the star on the account, I got some more fire making XP, and I figured I'd just log out at the location until it's tier 1. Tier 1 is hit, so now I've offed all the accounts, and if things go well, I'll be getting 1200 Stardust from the star, since I have it all to myself. If you guys remember me training woodcutting with 1.5 tick, the shooting star has the same mechanic, where I can get 2 rolls every hit instead of 1, if I start 3 ticking and then walk a square. So I'm going to be doing that for however long this takes. The good thing with this is I don't have anything to drop, so this is about 400 times easier than woodcutting was. I figured I would show my rates, since it probably would be interesting to know how much mining XP I get while wasting my time getting this untradeable dust. About 600 Stardust in, I started getting ragged by one of the rats walking around. I kept accidentally clicking attack on it, so I decided to do some spinning with my camera for the remainder of the star. Also, I noticed I didn't have Varrock armor on, but I do eventually go get it, even though I have zero idea if it even does anything for this. Just to be clear here, if you notice my login timer shows I recently logged out, unfortunately I lagged for 2 seconds and panic logged out, since I didn't want to fully DC for a minute. But here I am, finishing off the star, fully solo, and already 1200 out of the 2k dust I need. So I figured I'll just do one more in 2 hours and be done. Super easy content that I had to learn. That brings us to the next star. This time, it was around 11 AM EST. This is where I learned that stars are a lot more popular than I originally thought. Unfortunately, I had an entity hider on, but if you take a look around us, there's bones everywhere from people who were once miners. I had to attack 2 people who were over level 120, and then some other guy came in and PK'd all of my ults as well. There was one snake who was 60 combat. The reason I call him a snake is because I offered him 100k to off, I gave it to him and he never left, so fuck that guy. Because of Entity Hider, I wasn't able to see people, but I was basically nerdnecking my minimap to see white dots as they were showing up. With how many people I saw mining, I figured there would be 0 chance I would get my remaining 800 dust from this star, meaning I have to do one more. It sucks for the account, but I won't even lie, the amount of content I got from here, without even seeing the other characters, was well worth it. This guy in the chat, Nara Parks or whatever, I actually had to PK him since he was on the star, so sorry guy. But he kept getting PK from this other guy, and I got to witness this legendary transaction. Huh? Question mark? Why keep coming back? To mine. Find a different star, lol. No. Look guys, I don't know if I'm alone in this, but I swear to god this transaction was legendary to witness live. Especially because the guy got PK'd like 6 times. I love the stubbornness and I fully respect it. Getting towards the end of the star now, I accidentally had to log out since I didn't have 61 mining for D-Pick and I had no spec for like 2 seconds, so I quickly traded over Rune. As you can see, I'm still about 150 dust short. This annoyed me heavily because I knew the next star was 2 hours away. So what I would do is wait 2 hours, find it, then hit it on my ults for another 30 minutes until it's tier 1, and then finally get my last 150 dust in literally 5 minutes. I didn't want to waste all this time, so next I decided to try out the Shooting Star CC, which scouts stars for people who do this 24/7. And I would like to say I'm quite thankful they exist because getting to the next star was piss easy and happened right away. There's tons of people here, but it didn't matter since I only needed 150 dust. If you're curious about the time this ring took from when I started, including running to every star, it was about 50 minutes. Bearing in mind that I was 1.5 ticking, if you were to be AFKing only tier 1, you just have to double that time, so it would take about 1 hour and 40 minutes of AFK. Once I hit my last 800 star dust, I headed to Fallion near the shop, got my last bit of dust out of the bank, and ended up finally buying the ring. With this ring purchased, I got rid of my kind of miscellaneous obstacle that would have made me procrastinate playing before I start my next long grind, Song of the Elves. Of course, to wrap up this week's episode, I'm going to have to finish up Herbler so I can officially start what's next. Thankfully, I'll end up getting 90 agility right before it, so during this pause, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months, I'll at least have the luxury of having a flat level 90 agility. Here I am, hitting it. Now is probably a good time to start the analysis of my stats in EHP, so let's jump into that. On the left, we have my stats from last episode, and on the right, we have our current stats. That's right, if you're confused about why I'm not level 99 Herbler, it's because I get the remainder of my XP through questing. Anyway, I got some more total levels than expected because of fletching, but keep in mind we'll be flying through that at another point in this series anyway. Here is an easier visual if you prefer to look at the stats that way, along with my current EHP. Now, I think I said this last episode, but since I got super busy with moving a month ago, I slowed down for what I thought would be 2 weeks. I think in my last episode, I said I'm back to normal and we'll be back to weekly episodes. Clearly that was a lie because I was still super busy last week and I was getting overwhelmed. But now I can confidently say I am back on schedule and ready to game harder than ever. Minus school and work, of course. So, this EHP puts us at 48.5% of the way to max. We will definitely be over halfway next episode. Anyway guys, that's all for today. As always, TY for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you kings next week. Peace out.